RSI trades on that screen? Anybody spot any RSI trades on that screen? There's only one of them, isn't there? There is literally one single RSI trade. Agreed? It's just normal NVOL, absolutely. NVOL, it's the channel one that I use. So you get rid of the channel because it's pretty useless. But does everybody agree there is one RSI trade on that screen? You might argue on the very, very extreme left that there is another one, but remember, we're only trading the black line. So the one single RSI trade really that's on the screen that stands out crystal clear is that one right there. Agreed? Crystal clear. Because they're all going in the opposite direction. They are going in the opposite direction. The size of value that we get, remember, is measurable in points. Remember that. The size of value we get is measurable in points because this scaling is correct for all of these RSIs. So if this RSI is at 70, and this RSI is at 56, and this RSI is at 53, then you've got an actual score of 70 times 2 minus 56 minus 53. So you've got a score, haven't you? You can see if that score is getting better or getting worse. You can see if it's going up or if it's going down. You can see if that score is bigger than a previous threshold or less than your threshold trade. So this is the best score in a threshold trade that you're going to get. Sell side, massive volume increase on the candle before, small volume on the candle after, so that's the NVOL situation here. So we still see that it is still blue, it is still on an uptick. So that's a sell trade, correct? If we then look at that on the sell trade and we say, is it right? Well, that sell trade is, guess what? Exactly that top tick price, correct? Exactly that top tick price. And you get this brilliant little sell off and you make yourself some monies. Make yourself some money, don't you? So you get a little sell in at 37s. It trades a low price of 34.5. It's not a bad trade, $250, right? It's a 1 minute chart, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes for $250 using an RSI. And there is literally only one trade on that entire screen using the RSI, isn't there? It doesn't mean there's only one trade on the screen, but using that rule, the black line has to be above or at the 70, and all the other lines need to be below that. If that's your rule, that's the only trade that actually agrees with that rule. The only trade. You might argue that this one was good enough as well, because you can see the black line was above as well, but the value difference is tiny in that one, isn't it? The value difference, the black line is almost the same as the blue line. Do you see it? The black line is almost the same as the blue line. So if you were to calculate how many points, inverted comma, how many points you've got on the short sell, the points would be a lot less, wouldn't they? So yes, I could argue and I could agree that there was definitely value to sell this because the price had hardly moved. So you'd still have been able to make $100 in a scratch, yeah? You'd still have been able to make $100 in a scratch on it. So yeah, you're right. I mean, Julian's right. That is a possible play there, depending upon your rule set, of course. Now, depending upon your rule set, any of these black over blues and purples could be sell trades, and obviously the idea of getting into those deals, you can see obviously you've got to find levels, you've got to find other things, but you've still got to have a set of rules. You've got to have a set of rules. Well, is this a buy one? There's a couple of things that would suggest it's a possible buy, Ab, absolutely. First of all, it was into level 2 liquidity with value, right? So it's into level 2 with liquidity. We get a very large increase in volume. But if your rule is that the RSI has to be at 30 or lower, it's a little bit skinny, isn't it? A little bit skinny for 30 or lower. The RSI here was about 35. So you're missing it by literally a smidge. But you're absolutely right, against other rules which you can build around this, or against other ideas that you can build around this, there was obviously an idea that you probably should be long gold at that stage. Absolutely. Absolutely. And obviously the takeaway from that long gold position was pretty good. Now, as I said, there's not just a rule, there's a series of rules. The problem you've got with an RSI, as you can see in the background, is it doesn't take the longer term context into account. So when you're looking at that, for example, you might say to yourself, oh, I'm definitely selling gold. But obviously when you look at the yield, whilst the short term that gold looks really good, the context to that trade looks terrible. So when you're looking at that, yes, the sell still made money and scratched, but it's not a good looking trade, is it? So there's a lot of things you'll start seeing from these things. What I said earlier about RSIs is, if you're not seeing them using the lines, you should at least be seeing them using the RSI, because the RSI is doing the seeing for you. The RSI is your eyes. It's not very good, but it's better than nothing. It can be good. It can certainly allow you to see things that you maybe are struggling to see in that particular time frame of reference. So for example, if you look at that short sell, you can see that the black is over the blue is over the purple into that prior high. And I really like that because of ultimately the order flow sequence. So there's an idea that I think this will probably press. You can see these cells here didn't get RSI highs, but there was still black over blue over purple. The purple was going down. The purple was going down. The context to that trade is not lost on anybody. You can see the yield was rising. The yen was falling. The gold at the top edge is an easy sell. So does it matter that it's not an RSI sell? I can do better than an RSI, can't I? Far better than an RSI. But if I can't see that trade, then I've got to use the RSI, because at least I'll get something. At least I'll be able to find a way into a deal. You can see the buy trade in here is an absolute peach of a trade, right? Perfect trade in here. You see the buy trade up? That's a beauty, isn't it? The sell trade in here, well, that did okay, made you some monies. So at least the RSI is doing well. So it's better than nothing. It's better than nothing. Can give you some nice reads, some very nice reads, but at least you're getting a read. That's what's important. Oil coming back off that same prior high, so I don't know if anybody resold the $81.40. No reason why you shouldn't have been considering that short sell. Yeah, you might say, but the RSI never told me. Are you actually watching these value lines? I'm not going to be a buyer of oil anytime soon, guys. I am not going to be a buyer of oil anytime soon. But the RSI didn't show it as overbought. Well, that's because the candle closed in the downtick, of course, but that's okay. But take a look at the value. Is there anybody that doesn't see this downward, lower low, higher low slope? Is there anybody that is oblivious to this slope coming in? This is the calendar spread slope, the most important slope we have on oil. Is it going from top left to bottom right? Am I a seller of higher oil prices? All day long. Did we call this oil a heavy short earlier? Heavy short, not just a short, not a scalp short, a heavy short sell. There it is there. Booking some cash on the heavy short care bids below. That's when we shouted that bid below is here. But we're telling you, this is not a small short sell up here, guys. This is a heavy short sell up here. Heavy short sell. You know, this is not a trade that I'm going to be even contemplating being long into. I am a seller and only a seller today on oil. And obviously, we've been selling it since 9 o'clock this morning with the bids here. We're careful. We got a retest at 40s. It's now just traded 60s. Another $800 sell side winner, guys. It's beautiful. absolutely stunning sell-side trade, sell-side only trade. But does that show up on the RSI? Well, it did for the sell here, but obviously it didn't for the retest sell, because obviously you'd have had to watch that in real time to see it. You know, if you're watching it in real time, of course, it was very obviously setting up at the top edges.